Hey guys, it's Sin from Reddit Mutiny, back to you with another video. This past war, we actually did a really small war, and because we had a few people shuffling around our affiliated clans with scrims and stuff, so we actually only did a 10v10 and matched against this clan called Os Basias 2. So being a 10v10 war, there isn't much material to do a full recap. So I'll be doing a more detailed breakdown of both my attacks this war. As you can see, we won the war 29-22, but it was actually a lot closer than it looks. I think up till the last 2 hours, we were actually trailing by 19-22 or something like that. It just shows how little margin of error you have in a 10v10 war, because often the 3-star clan will beat a 2-star clan by at most 5 stars. And in this case, they actually were quite a decent clan. They have anti-3 bases. They tried Govaho on all our bases. There wasn't a single go wipe. So all props to them for trying their best. And it was actually all around a pretty decent war. So without further ado, let's have a look at the first base. So this is the first base that I attacked. It is number 3 Aquila's. So my first impression of the base were pretty much that it should be aired. This is maybe just personal preference speaking, but without knowledge of DGB sets, I just prefer to air a base if the base allows it. And in particular, what you should be looking for if you like using air for a fresh hit are that the ADs are very far apart. They are not overlapping. This is because this allows you to essentially Laloon the ADs one by one. And this prolongs the lifespan of your lava hounds and allows your loons to be deployed in a structured manner, and they all converge onto the last AD. The second thing that I really liked was that the queen was offset with one AD in one compartment right here. This gave me a first impression that I should be doing a Go Laloon, simply because my kill squad will be getting the queen and AD, at the very least 2 archer towers, maybe a 3rd, and get the CC, possibly a wizard tower as well. So it seemed really good value for me. But then I had another look at the base. I wasn't very sure if there were a Tesla farm here or anything like that, so I wasn't so sure as well, because personally I have a preference for queen walks, but this was the first war I was in after the update, and I wasn't sure if I should do one with the 3-minute timer. And I looked at it more and more again, and I realized that a queen walk down this path would be really great, because she could take out the queen, 3 archer towers, a wizard tower, this AD, and another archer tower. So that's a lot of value for a queen walk, and the only real thick buildings she'll have to go through are the dark elixir storage, and the CC. There aren't really any big buildings here. This side can all be taken care of by wizards, so it's not really a problem. So after I got my heart set on that, I wanted to make that opening work. So it was pretty much decided that my archer queen will be dropped here. She will take out this side, get the queen, get the ADs, get the CC. And at the same time, I will drop 2 wizards here to funnel, simply because I would normally use only 1 wizard for the funnel, but because these are really high HP units, it will be worth it to just get rid of it, because if they cause my archer queen to walk the other way, I'm basically fucked. And one other reason that caused me to abandon the Go Laloon approach was because I wanted to be able to split my archer queen and king to get more value out of them. Because if you do a Go Laloon, essentially after they're done with that one compartment, this one in particular, your kill squad ceases to gain value, because even if you get a jump, you can't really connect your kill squad to any other of the ADs. So it's kind of pointless trying to get more value out of it, and it's a bit of a waste when you have heroes that are quite big. I have a level 26 king and a level 30 queen, so I wanted to try to get even more out of it. So what I noticed was that this base has seems to be a weakness that's quite common amongst bases built by people who are experienced with Goho but not that experienced with Laloon. So they might not be aware that this is a weakness, but when you see a base with a corner like this one that's directly outside, it's very easy to target this corner with wall breakers. And when that area has very little point defense cover, basically this compartment, essentially only this cannon is covering this compartment. There's no other point defense in this region whatsoever. You don't really need a golem, and a king can solo that and take out the AD no problem. So that complemented the AQ walk opener even better, so which made me even more confident in this attack. So my concern was this wizard tower taking out the wall breakers. So the plan was to drop a giant here, and at the same time drop a wizard on this dark racks. This would distract the wizard tower, which will allow me to send my wall breakers in here. And after the funnel was created, I could drop my barbarian king on the army camp. After the army camp, he'll reroute to the dark racks, and after the dark racks, with this dark racks gone, the wall breaker busted in, the next closest building will be the wizard tower. And once he goes in there, he'll probably aggro the defensive king, but I can take him out with my ability, and the next thing that will be gone will be the air defense. So with that opener done, I would have gotten 3 air defenses with just both my heroes, 4 healers and a giant and 3 wizards. So that's really, really good value. And all I have to worry about is this last air defense on the south side. And the thing about this is I didn't really think this through. I got kind of a bit cocky at this point, and I just felt, it's very easy. Just two lava hounds here, and Laloon this as you will, and just haste maybe here, maybe here, that kind of thing. But as you'll see later in the raid, that these 2 air sweepers actually did quite a bit of work, and it could have gone a lot wrong. It could have gone really wrong if my opener didn't get that much value. So looking back at this, it probably wasn't the best air defense to leave up with the rest of the base, given that the 2 air sweepers were both directly protecting it. Or at the very least, I should have sent my loons in from the other side. Basically, maybe here, and send my loons in from this side first, in this direction. But as you'll see later, I ended up doing it the other way, and it could have very nearly cost me my raid if my opener was slightly shitty. So now that that's the basic plan, I just needed to refine the plan and tally up my spells and troops and see what worked. I needed 2 minions here to funnel my queen in this direction. I decided to bring a max poison. I generally bring a max poison as a matter of practice, simply because it's really good against the defending royals and the CC. We had a Town Hall 8 scout this war, so we had him scout the CC of this base, and we realized it was Dragloon. So I brought a max poison just for the CC. I brought my own poison for the queen, and I realized that I would need at most 2 haste for the Laloon portion of the attack. So I brought 2 haste, probably here, and that left me with enough space for, I believe it's 3 elixir spells. So I just packed 3 rages. When you're doing a queen walk air attack, it's better to bring rages than haste, simply because rages are more flexible. You can switch them around between your air force and your queen walk, whereas haste does nothing for your queen. But other than that, if you're doing a golem opener for leading up to a Laloon attack, hastes are generally better at a Town Hall 9 level, simply because your balloons don't really benefit from the attack buff of rage much, except against X-bows. So yeah, now that that's the plan, let's look at how the attack went. So I dropped my queen, dropped my archer queen, dropped my healers, and dropped both wizards to create the funnel. At this point, only one archer tower is firing on my archer queen, so I sense that it's fine to send in the giant and the wizard to create the funnel on the other side. I'm kind of lucky that the skeleton traps aggroed onto the wizard, and the wizard didn't take down the dark barracks, because this ensured that the funnel for my king still worked. If the wizard took out the dark racks, it's very possible that the king would have went to the gold mines instead. So on my king side, I know everything's fine. I've already hit his ability, so there's nothing I can do there even if I fail. I drop the poison on the archer queen to make sure that my queen is doing fine. I dropped the rage just to accelerate her DPS. I didn't really need the heal there. Minions go down to funnel her in. Drop the poison for the CC. If you notice, I'm quite liberal with my rages on my queen this time around compared to conventional queen walks. This is because with the 3-minute timer, you actually need to rage for damage now. I don't think you have the luxury of saving the rages just for heals. And if you notice, the Laloon starts really early as well. The queen hasn't taken down the second air defense. I basically timed it so that, on estimate, the queen would reach there before balloons, and I had to pop her ability just to take it out quicker. And now that that area is done, I release all the rest of my loons onto the Tesla farm. I actually forgot that I had another haste. Otherwise, this attack would have been a lot less closer than it is right now. I ended up barely taking out the base in time. I think I had 17 seconds spare. So yeah, let's fast forward this. Let's just clean up at this point and move on to the next attack. So this was the second attack that I attacked, and this was a cleanup attack, and this is a slightly inferior base to the first one. It looks very much like an internet base. Even before the first attack was hit, we had a pretty strong feeling that the Teslas would be here. It's just a matter of where the bombs were, and the attack actually confirmed that the bomb spots were, there's a single bomb here, double set here, and I think there was a single one here as well. Yeah, and this was a fairly straightforward plan, because this base has a major flaw against queen walk, and this is a good chance to learn like what not to do when building a base. Basically, you don't want your outer compartment where everything is within 6 tiles of each other. Basically, 2 buildings adjacent to each other like this. And basically this whole stretch. And this as well. Because what this allows the attacker to do is, basically the attacker can just drop his queen here and walk this entire side of the base. And he'll be able to take out this entire area. And in this case, there's actually a bonus because I get his queen as well. And effectively, once my archer queen reaches this area, it nullifies the single bomb. So that's pretty much half the base done, and all you have to do is take out the other part of the base. So immediately I knew from the start that the opener would have to start with an AQ walk here, all the way here. So I'll bank on her to take out this entire area. And for the rest of the base, I just felt that a Govaho would easily wipe it. So I looked for an entry point, and I decided to utilize my Archer Queen's walk to create one side of the funnel. So since this whole indigo area would have been taken out, all I need is one golem here and 3 wizards on the racks, the army camp, and the drill. And effectively I have created a full funnel. Wall breakers here, and my king can come in here. I also decided to bring 3 Valks simply because Valks are really good DPS right now, but their survivability is nowhere near as good. Even under heal, if they're focus fired by an Expo and a Tesla, they can go down pretty quickly. So I think unless you really bring them en masse in like a group of maybe 12 or 15, you really can't really rely on their tanking ability anymore. They're more like melee wizards. At least this is based off my limited experience with them post-patch. I've only done maybe 2 attacks with Valks right now, so I may be wrong, hopefully. And the reason why I only brought 1 golem, aside from the fact that half the funnel is already created by my queen, is also I tend to only favor 1 golem with Govaho because Valks are a lot faster than golems, and usually after the first layer, Valks get ahead of the golem and they start tanking anyway. So the second golem is in most cases wasted. So the Gova will enter from this side. I decided that a jump will be placed here. I intentionally didn't connect the Town Hall compartment because if the Valks went in there, then their damage would have been wasted. I want them taking out defenses. Same with my king. So I don't want them touching the Town Hall at all and save it for cleanup. And I also foresaw that I would have to drop a heal here simply because my Valks will be going through a double giant bomb set, and there's quite a lot of point defense in this area, including the defensive king. So that left me with one more heal, and I decided to drop the last heal here so that it covers the single bomb. And finally the hogs would come in here. I'll drop 2 hogs and CC hogs here. Actually, let me use a different color to make it more clear. Yeah, I decided hogs would come in here from this direction all the way counterclockwise. I decided to go CC hogs on this attack simply because I was only bringing a few Valks for damage. They weren't really the main thrust of the attack. In hindsight, CC Valks would have worked as well, but I just wanted to use CC level 6 hogs. And the plan was eventually the Govaho would meet up with the queen around this area, and thankfully that worked out really well. Very nearly lost the hogs at the end though. You'll see later. And in terms of spells, as usual, I like bringing poisons for my going up to complement my queen walk. So the plan was for poison here for CC, poison for the queen, and I realized the CC was really far away, so I needed a lure. So I cut a hog and I brought a giant just to lure right here. And yeah, that's the plan. So I was pretty happy with it, and thankfully it was a pretty easy base to clean up because we were still behind in the war at that point. So yeah, let's see how the attack played out. So I drop my queen, drop my healers, drop my wizard funnel, and at the same time I drop a giant to lure the CC. Poison goes down for the CC. At the same time I drop a rage, just to be safe. Another poison goes down, anticipating the clash with the queen. Now that that side of the funnel is done, the queen is pretty much on autopilot at this point. So I drop my golem. Wizards to funnel the other side. Test wall breaker. Other wall breakers go in. Now I drop my Valks, my king, to go in. One mistake I did here was that I should have sent 3 hogs onto that Tesla. It actually ended up causing a lot more trouble than it should. Heal and jumps go down, and my hogs start going in. King is taking on his king. And only now I start sending in hogs in that direction. If you notice, my queen's still going perfectly fine. It's just a matter of poor base construction against a queen walk. I noticed that my hogs were getting a bit thin, so out of panic I actually dropped the heal a bit early, so it doesn't cover the single bomb spot. And I noticed, after noticing that the heal had gone on too early, I immediately popped my queen's ability to get rid of the air defense to nullify the bomb, but it still hit. And thankfully, at the last moment, the healers transferred onto the hogs to save them from the bomb. In part due to the queen ability, because the healers will transfer off your queen if she's at full health and no longer taking damage. So that queen ability definitely helped there. So yeah, those were my 2 attacks this war. I hope you guys found it helpful and educational in terms of adjusting to the latest patch. Queen walk is definitely not dead with the 3-minute attack timer. It just needs to be done on the right bases with the proper planning. And it's a very different kind of queen walk nowadays. When queen walk was first discovered, a lot of times people would wait for the queen to take out a significant portion of the base before joining her with a kill squad. I don't think that approach is viable anymore, simply because, as many have probably experienced, you will definitely run out of time. But I definitely recommend those with bigger queens, like for example level 25 and above, to start experimenting with split hero approaches. Personally, I found a lot of success with it, more so even before when I had 3 minutes and 30 seconds to do it. Simply because when you can effectively split your kill squad into 2, with your queens on one side and your king and golem on the other side, it's very difficult for a base builder to account for you going into the base from 2 directions. And it's very hard to organize a defense around that, because when you can come into a base from 2 sides, you're pretty much guaranteed at the minimum 2 ADs and or 2 double giant bomb sets. So it sets you up really, really well for your main attack. So that's the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, see you guys.